Good morning, everybody. Or good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. I always do that, and then I think it might not be morning for them there. I'm having a nice cup of hot chocolate today. Feel like being cosy, so why not, eh? Not quite got the Christmas mugs out yet, but I will soon. I'm really excited about it. My name's Suzanne of Greenlambkin Yarn, and I have come here today to talk to you all about what's coming up for Greenlambkin Yarn in the immediate future and over the next year in terms of clubs. Excuse me. So yes, this is just a little catch up about shop news really. So if you're not interested in that, I'm not sharing any projects that I'm working on today. I will be back with a proper podcast shortly, and then of course Vlogmas at the beginning of December. But today it's just shop talk. So if you don't fancy sticking around, absolutely no worries, and I'll see you next time. And if you're still here, I'm going to tell you about what's coming up over the next year and what's coming up for Christmas. So let's talk about clubs first. I've had a few people asking questions about the sock club and the blanket club and whether they're going to continue. And yes, there's definitely going to be both sock club and blanket club and advent club next year. But they're going to have different themes. So we've done Moons of the Year this year for the sock club, and that seems to have gone down really well and everybody's enjoyed it. But I can't really keep doing the same theme over and over again. So next year I've chosen the works of William Shakespeare for my sock club. So it's going to be a mixture of plays and sonnets, and just like this year, it'll be 100 gram skein of either classic sock, which is merino nylon, or sparkle sock, which is merino nylon stellina. You get a 100 gram main skein and a 20 gram contrast mini, a progress keeper, and an information card to explain the idea behind each month's inspiration. And I'm really excited about that. Hoping Ivy will help me with that because she's doing her English literature GCSE subject. So I think she'll be able to help me think of some really nice themes for that as well. The sock club runs from January to December. So I'll share over on the social media platforms as and when I've got more information about them. I'll pop it all up there, and we'll be doing it very similarly on a subscription basis, but we are going to change it. So this year we've done it that every month, once you've subscribed to a club, you get an email with an invoice, and then you have to go and manually pay the invoice. That's caused issues and confusion this year and been difficult to manage from an admin point of view. So a lot of people have said, can't you just take it straight from my bank? So next time round, from January onwards, the clubs are going to be set up on either a one-off or an automatic payment. If you subscribe, it'll debit your account monthly. Hopefully anyway. We've got to work out the logistics of that, but we know that's an option. So that's hopefully what's going to happen next time. Yes, so that's sock club, and blanket club is going to continue, but rather than it being just a random colour selection every month, the theme I've chosen is Blooming Lovely. That's what it's going to be called, the Blooming Lovely Blanket Club. And each month you'll still get 4 20 gram DK minis. Again, you can go for classic DK or sparkle DK, and it's exactly the same makeup of nylon and merino, or nylon stellina and merino. 4 per month, and each month is going to be inspired by a different flower or plant. and it'll come with an information card about that flower or plant with, you know, the Latin name, a little bit of blurb talking about the colour choices and things like that. And I'm really excited for that. So yes, again, that runs January to December. And what else do I need to tell you about that? It'll be on the same basis as the sock club. Advent is going to be coming back again next year, obviously. I wouldn't not do that. That is an 8-month club which runs once a month from March to October. And I haven't decided. I've got an idea of what the theme's going to be, but I've not cemented it yet and thought of a name and pinned it all down properly yet. So it's coming and I know roughly what I'm doing, but I've not quite got there yet. So bear with on that one. But the ideas I've got, I'm really excited about. So yeah, it will be lovely, I think. So that's all the clubs. That's the clubs for next year. So let's talk about Christmas. The first thing to mention, and this is important, is if you've been doing the Advent and you would like a Christmas Day treat, we have the Enchanted Forest Christmas Day box live in the shop at the moment. And whether you've been doing the Advent and you want to finish it off for the 25th, or whether you've not been doing the Advent but you just want to treat yourself to something special for Christmas Day, this is a really good option for you. It can stand alone, or it will also follow the theme of the Advent, as my previous Christmas Day boxes have done. So yes, I'm really excited about that. There are still some available in the shop, but they are shifting. So if you are interested in one, I'd encourage you to pop over and have a look at that in more detail. They're a pre-order, so the closing date for that is the 24th of November. I want to make sure that I've got enough time to turn it around, and I will prioritise getting international ones out first in the hope that they will arrive in time for Christmas Day. But obviously, the way that things have been going with the Royal Mail over the last year, it's anybody's guess. I'll be making spares just in case any go awry, because I have had a lot of parcels go missing this year, unfortunately. It's quite a frustration. Yes, so yes, the theme, as I said, is the Enchanted Forest Christmas. It's inspired by the whole of the Advent collection and the whole theme of a magical Christmassy forest. You get 100 gram skein, and that's Stellina. It's just sparkle sock, because I think I would get myself too confused if I did choices of classic and sparkle. I just do the Advent on sparkle, so it just follows the same format. So it's 100 gram skein, 2 20 gram mini contrasting minis. Then you get a progress keeper, which is all themed around the same idea. So a progress keeper, which fits in a project bag charm and some secret treats and surprises. And I'm very excited about it. It's all coming together very beautifully. If you had the Halloween countdown box and you saw it and you saw the lovely project bag charm in there, which was the gold, the orange and purpley sparkly moon, made by my friend Paula. She's making the Christmas Day box project bag charms for me as well, and I'm absolutely thrilled to bits with them. So yeah, I'm really excited about how it's all coming together. Okay, so that's the Christmas Day box. And the last thing is that I have just updated the shop with all of the Christmas yarn, the generic Christmas yarn, not clubs, not boxes, just Christmas yarn and Christmas project bag charms and Christmas progress keepers. So would you like to see what we've got on offer this year? Okay, we've got most of the old colourways, the old, you know, traditional familiars to my shop, and we've got some that have last year's newcomers. We've got the one that was the newcomer for Christmas in July, and 2 new colourways for this Christmas. So where shall we start? Let's start with the most familiar, the oldie, the goodie, the stalwart, the original Greenlambkin yarn Christmas colourway, which is vintage shinies. These have all been dyed on the sparkle sock base. And this is inspired by a very vintage 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s multicoloured rainbow explosion like the Christmas fairy threw up on your Christmas tree. Shinies are what we call baubles in our family, so that's where the name came from for that. So all of these are 100 gram skeins of sparkle sock. So that's vintage shinies. What else is an oldie and a goodie? Lambkin Through the Snow. This has been around for a few years now. This does a really lovely micro stripe, and it's again very nostalgic, very vintage feeling Christmassy colours on a nice snowy white background. You've got all sorts going on in there. Beautiful. And here's another fave. This one's been around 2 years now, I think. Is it 2 years? Yeah. This is Mrs. Santa Claus. Again, very vintage inspired, very retro, pink Santas and ladies in pinnies baking gingerbread. And this was a micro stripe of brown, like cinnamon brown, pistachio green, and then red, bits of white, and then that lovely pastel neon sugary icing pink. And this is inspired by the song Mrs. Santa Claus by Nat King Cole. So if you've not heard that, I would ask your friendly AI device to sing that for you, and you'll get a glimpse of the way my brain works and produces colourways. Next, let's go for Holly Crown. I think this is in its third Christmas now. This is a really sort of variegated blend of yellows and rich greens with sparkles and speckles of cherry red, well, hollyberry red, and a neon, really bright pop of neon pink. It's a really heavily variegated skein full of interest. That's Holly Crown. And then we've got these two, which sort of come as a pair. They are sisters. This is All Is Calm and All Is Bright. And these have been around, I think this might be their 4th year now. So they're both based on the same colour theme of this raspberry, green and blue. But you've got the really bright and vibrant version and the much more subtle and delicate version. So that should be something for everyone there. Last year I introduced these semi-solids to the party. We've got red berries and glossy leaves, and these go really well to complement loads of the different Christmas colourways, and they're really good for if you want to do a 2-colour or a 3-colour shawl, and they go really well with this one, which is Jolly Holly. This was a micro stripe of dark evergreen, lime green and red with speckles of all these vintage feeling bits on a white background. And I think that these make a beautiful trio. And one day I really want to make myself a magical Christmas shawl with these 3 colourways together when I get the time. So that one's glossy leaves, red berries and Jolly Holly. Last year's one of last year's new Christmas colourways was Frost Fairy. And again, this is quite a delicate one. And it focuses on teals, magentas and purples on a subtle background. So if you fancy something a bit non-traditionally Christmassy, more wintry, this could be a really good one for you. And the one that came in for Christmas in July this year is another one that I really love. I'm knitting a pair of socks in this colourway. And this is Peppermint Twist. I've just realised I've not done Candy Cane Forest. Bear with me and I'll go and fetch that in a second. What a wally. This is Peppermint Twist. Very delicate pale pink and like a very pale turquoisey blue mint, really. And then bright, bright pops of lime and scarlet over the top of that. Another lighter, more ethereal Christmassy colourway. And would go, bear with, 1 second. I thought I was missing one. Would go really well with this one. I've not wound it up. Hang on a second. I'll do it right now. This is another really old one. This came in just after Vintage Shinies. This is Candy Cane Forest. So this is a slightly brighter, slightly more variegated version of this one. You get bolder pops of colour, bigger blocks of colour in this one than this one, but they actually go really nicely together. Also, or how about this? Ooh, yes, I like those. Okay, so that's all of the sort of existing Christmas colourway stock. So do you want to say hello to the 2 new Christmas colourways for this year? Well, it's 3 really. You'll understand why in a minute. So this one was inspired by a colourway that was in last year's Advent. I've renamed it. It was originally called Midnight Mass. It's now called Stained Glass and Candlelight. Because I thought that was a little bit less, a bit more generic, a bit more secular for people who might not like the idea of it being called Midnight Mass. Very atmospheric, I think. Very, very warm, very traditional feeling colours in that one. So that's Stained Glass and Candlelight. I almost called it Midnight Mass again. And then, if you fancy a bit of neon Christmas, I'm really excited to knit with this. Say hello to Gumdrop Dreams. Oops. This is a pastel neon green background, semi-solid background with really bright splashes of colours, which could be interpreted as gumdrops sprinkled, or maybe fairy lights on a neon Christmas tree. This is on the sparkle. You see the sparkle there? Oh, I am so excited. And as I was dyeing it, I suddenly thought this would pair really nice. I don't know why, but I just had a vision of pairing this with Sori Silk Alpaca. So I dyed a semi-solid of a colourway which I'm calling Peppermint Cream. And I have a hankering to crochet a cowl with these. It's the One Skein Wonder cowl, which Ali from Little Drops of Wonderful has recently discovered and enjoyed making over Vlogtober. So yes, these are going to be separate because this would go really nicely with lots of other colourways as well. They go really well together. Very pretty indeed. What's this one here? Ooh, what about Lambkin Through the Snow? That might be interesting. Lots of nice ways of mixing it all up. Another good pattern for this pairing would be the Simple Pleasures hat, which uses a strand of fluffy lace weight with a strand of 4-ply sock yarn. Yep. Or just hold them together and make some nice mittens, or a nice simple DK hat. Any would be lovely. So they'll be available separately. And that's all the yarn. But I still have entrunclements to show you. So I've got 3 Christmas project bag charms going into the shop this time. One of them is the Jolly Holly project bag charm, which has been around for a couple of years now. It has a sparkly star, some very sparkly glittery holly, a jingle bell. I do love a jingle bell on a project bag charm, especially a Christmas one. So that's Jolly Holly. And new for this year, we have 2 which are quite different. So the first one is called the Sugar Plum. And she's got this lovely sort of opaly looking, iridescent looking sweetie. And then she's got this bead, which reminds me of the jelly type sweet in the Licorice All Sorts. A sparkly snowflake. And a sparkly one of these, whatever that is. So that's Sugar Plum bag charm. And the last one, this is very whimsical. Just get it organised. It's a Christmas pudding. And it's a Christmas pudding with sprinkles on. We've got a jingle bell. And we've got some lovely sort of gingerbready looking beads. Some pearly stars. So that's the Christmas pudding one. So they're the 3 project bag charms. And let's move on finally to Progress Keepers. So this is an oldie and a goodie. This is the Holly Jolly again. It's the Holly Jolly project Progress Keeper. Very sparkly, very pretty. And then we've got Santy. He's a one that was around last year. Very lovely Santa Claus. And then tiny little candy canes with holly. These we had last year as well. And new for this year, we've got these really chunky big holly charms, enamel. That's got gold hardware. We've got these very, very retro looking pink Christmas trees, which, you know what I'm saying? Look gorgeous with that. Gorgeous with this. Oh yes. And pink Christmas trees. We've done the Santas, we've done the holly. We've got these really sweet little gingerbread houses with a heart. And last but not least, these adorable Santa robins. And that's everything. So I think I'm going to have to wind some of this up and get that pattern. To have a play with those together, and I'm going to go and do some more housework now. How very rock and roll, eh? I hope that you've enjoyed seeing what's coming into the shop and hearing about what's coming up for the following year. As I say, if you would like to treat yourself to one of the Christmas Day boxes, you've got until the 24th of November. So, yeah. I wouldn't hang around if you do fancy that, because as I say, there are some left, but not loads. So I'm hoping there's plenty for everyone, but I don't want people to be disappointed. And if you've got any other questions about anything, drop me a comment below and I will pick up on them and answer them to the best of my ability. And I'm hoping I'll get to do a vlog, not a vlog. I'm hoping I'll get a chance to do a podcast before we get to Vlogmas. Keep everything crossed that I'll be able to do that. If not, I'll see you on the 1st of December. But otherwise, hopefully, I'll see you before then. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's been lovely to spend a nice little almost half hour with you. And I'm really excited for everybody to start their Christmas Eve festive crafting. See you all very soon. Ta-ta for now.